All right, I have no theme song, but we do have a new theme song that will be on the actual finished podcast. But
I did not approve of that.
Oh man, it's a banger. Wait, maybe I can actually play the theme song. Hold on, let me see. We're gonna edit on the fly here. Ready? Let's see if I can do it. The banger alert. All right, let me see if I can do this. Oh, this might be
Are we gonna be able to hear it, or is this like only through Twitch?
I think you guys can't hear it.
Yeah, there you go.
Hold on. I think I can do this. I think we can. This show's already a disaster, so we might as well make it.
Oh, it's gonna get worse.
We're gonna make it even more of a disaster here. Here we go. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the 500th episode of the Pokemon Podcast. It's super effective. Oh, I hate doing that live. Hello.
You do it live every week.
I don't do it. I do it behind closed doors.
You are behind
your door is closed.
Are we no longer an interesting audience, is what you're saying? That we don't matter?
No.
We judge you as harsher than Twitch ever will.
I have no problem, sharing a hotel room with you guys, and it's the same as opening the episode of this show. But I wouldn't share the hotel room with, some listeners. That's what I'm saying. It's a little behind the scenes.
It's a little risque.
Yeah.
Oh, please, no.
I did hit the record button. All right. Hey, I'm your host. Steve SBJ. I'm here. This is the 500th episode. Greg with me today.
Hello. I dug into the archives to pull out the WAP Zip shirt just for the 500th episode. I was going to wear the Rage Candy Bar shirt, but that didn't hold up.
Will also here. Hopefully internet connection stays stable.
It's oof, but I was going to say, I'm the only one here who's traditional. You guys are boneless. Both of you.
Oh, yeah. That's because I don't want to work when I eat my wings.
Oh, my word.
You're going to expose on national TV?
I don't think this
National
is TV. I don't think we're good enough for TV.
It says you. I've been on TV.
Hey, so it's been 500 episodes. That's a whole lot of episodes. We're here. It's technically been more than 500 episodes because I'm pretty sure
there's a long time that you cheated the number, and then you don't count miniseries.
Yeah. We're probably realistically at 600.
Happy 600th episode!
No, I think that's a little maybe over estimating, but maybe 573.
That's not a good number.
That's a good number for me.
So the format of the show is, if you're listening to the audio only version, we're recording this live on Twitch. That'll get sent to YouTube on Monday. So hopefully at the end of all of this, the audio sounds good and it sounds like a normal episode. The thing that when we transitioned to doing video, it was still very important for the audio podcast to just sound as good as it can be. Because I know when sometimes podcasts convert to video and then you're listening to the audio version, you're like, I feel like I'm missing something because it's first and foremost a video show. So that's always important quality-wise to make sure the audio show sounds just as good as an audio show. And then once you convert to video, and then when you take it another step and you convert to live, as we've noticed, if you missed the first it won't be in the audio podcast, but there was 20 minutes of tech issues, even though we started 40 minutes early to not have tech issues, and we still had tech issues.
I had no tech issues.
And to assist our audio-only listeners, I will be keeping my eyes closed throughout this entire process. So I won't see anything either.
The way we do it.
500 episodes is a lot. We're still going to go through Pokemon news, and because we're doing this live on Twitch after our breaks, which I guess you guys will see our breaks, or we'll have breaks because we need to have breaks. We'll have breaks, and then we'll have to do the ad, so you guys will see us do the ad in real time.
Exciting.
That's going to be you will see how much of a hot mess it is to do an ad real time. And then at the end of that, The ad is every plate. And then after the end of that, we'll take like questions and stuff from Twitch chat. And so for the most part, though, Twitch chat, you will probably argue about us talking about things in real time.
I am on different tabs. I am no longer looking at that. I'm looking.
Oh,
at
I had to close them out. Otherwise, they
I
were
look
going to
at the
kill
two
my
faces that
connection.
make me angry every week, so it'll be a normal episode.
All right. 500 episodes. Let's kick off with some Pokemon news. Let's start off with some real... Let's start off this episode with a bummer, I suppose. This is off Esports. Pokemon Florida Regional Championships canceled. Other global dates added. So the Florida Regional Championships have been canceled, quote, due to... Now, probably think it's because of COVID. Well, it's Florida also. But, quote, due to changes in government regulations and restrictions in the state of Florida, this cancellation means the Orange County Championships, which were set for April 1st to 3rd, also won't be happening. But there are new events being added in Europe, in Bremen, Germany on May 28th and May 29th. And then in Sao Paulo, Brazil, there will be an event on April. Did I say that right?
Close enough.
It's fine.
April 2nd and 3rd. And then in Joinville, I don't know where Joinville is. They don't say. May 7th and 8th. Australia will also have events beginning in Queensland on March 12th and 13th. And in Perth, it wouldn't be 500 episodes without Perth. In Perth on May 21st and May 22nd. And St. Kilda in Victoria on June 11th and 12th. So they added a bunch of international dates. Oh, Joinville is also in Brazil. My mistake. And then the Florida regionals got canceled, which I believe was supposed to be like April. What was that? April 14th, 15th, I think.
How am I supposed to remember something I was never planning on going to?
So the importance of the Florida regionals was it was one of the three. Oh, it was the April 1st weekend. It was one of the three that had Pokemon Go. So I believe it was
right.
Salt Lake City, Florida, and then Milwaukee. All had the Pokemon Go part, and then every other regionals had the TCG and the VGC. The due to cancellations in government regulation was that we can explain it. That the Pokemon events require you to show proof of vaccination, and Florida as a state says you're not allowed to do that.
Correct.
So because the event wanted proof, they weren't allowed to do that. Therefore, because Pokemon wanted to be as safe as possible, they had to cancel the event because Florida would not let them do that. Because Florida.
Good job, Florida.
I mean, I've had that same issue at my job, so I completely understand and can relate. I wanted to do a clarification for something too that I think we brought up either last week or the week before about the Abu Dhabi Pokemon Go event being canceled.
Oh yeah.
And we kind of said, oh, it's probably because of COVID, or like implied that. There is another country performing military actions against Abu Dhabi right now.
Oh, yeah, that's not good.
AKA missile strikes. And so I think that was more of the, it's not good to have people walking around outside.
Yeah.
Got it.
Also, Florida, really? That's all I'm going to say.
It's fine.
That's no surprise.
It's not a surprise, but I'm still going to be like...
the Florida thing was kind of on my mind too, because there was just that Aaron Zhang like mini documentary that they put together on YouTube, and if you're in the competitive scene and you follow a lot of like the high end competitive players like Wolf Glick or Aaron Zhang, they did like a 20-minute documentary on Aaron Zhang, who's a fantastic player. But what's funny is
the documentary on themselves, or somebody else.
Wolf Glick and a video editor did a documentary on Aaron Zhang.
Okay.
It would. I mean, I suppose you could do a documentary on yourself. It would probably be very yeah.
We should do a documentary on ourselves.
But that documentary, he goes to Orlando, Florida, I think for one of his very first tournaments, and that was like one of the very first World Championships. I think it was maybe either the first or the second. If I could be completely wrong, at least in the United States. I went to the California one, which I think there's been 3 in California, or maybe 2. Went to the California one, the Nashville one, and then the DC one. The DC one was the last one before events got.
I've never been.
What?
I've never been to a regionals. I've never been to a worlds. Never been to any of it. You've cut me out of all of them.
Will and I met at a national tournament.
Nationals. Yep.
Yep. That was the Nationals with Black and White.
Indianapolis, 2012.
And I was playing Vanillux Victini.
Well, I came for VGC and didn't even know that there were such things as a meta or EVs and IVs. I just put together a team of 6 Pokemon.
Oh yeah, because
one of them being Whiscash.
Yeah, because when we met, you weren't into TCG, and then we taught you, I think, that weekend how to play.
Yep, correct.
And then you saw me get extremely tilted that weekend because I lost to a Pokédad who was playing Cobalion, and I was playing Vanillux. Vanillux is weak to steel. It's one of the very few people. Jeez, thanks for the Twitch Prime. I forgot to mute alerts. All right, alerts are muted. I lost to a Pokédad. Okay, you can still sub and give bits. They just won't pop up for the audio. You're messing up my audio. Thank you for the Twitch Prime. Live show already off the rails.
Derailed.
So no, the problem with losing to that Pokédad was the judge rolled back 2 turns and made it impossible for me to win and made it guaranteed for him to win. But like his ruling was so bad. I wasn't mad about losing, although losing does suck. I was mad that the judge made the worst possible call.
It's always something outside of you.
Greg, 10 years later. 10 years later,
you're still hanging in there.
This is how much he holds on to these Gregs. He doesn't even play the TCG anymore.
You do not have to tell me these things. I understand fully. I'm just pointing out that it's always outside of Steve. It's the judge, all the weather, all that state.
That match is did I ever tell you guys about there was a match in Kenosha, Wisconsin? It was not a regionals, or it was a pretty low, it was like a battle roads. I don't even think they're called battle roads anymore. And when I played the TCG competitively, it would be like me and like 2 to 3 other like dudes that I played with. I still talk to most of those people today. And then it would be like Irene, but Irene didn't want to go.
You don't talk to Irene anymore, though. That's the real secret.
And then the other guys,
dudes, not your wife.
The other guys I normally go with, they were like out of town, or they were busy, whatever. So I went to Kenosha myself to go to this Battle Roads, and I get there. I don't even remember what deck I'm playing, but it's the first round of the tournament, and I accidentally play 2 supporters. I play like a Charon or whatever Sycamore. I don't know. I accidentally play 2 supporters, which. I was playing a very complicated deck where that mistake was whatever. Everyone makes that mistake, I think, at least once. And I tell the guy, I was like, I think I accidentally played 2 supporters. And he said, what do you want me? And he said, oh, it's no big deal. I'm going to lose anyways.
Wow.
Like, it was a very favorable matchup, and he was dead drawing anyways. And like, it was very, like, I was going to win the match. And I was like, yeah, but I feel bad. I played 2 supporters. Like, I caught myself after I played the second supporter, and like, I was like, what do you want me to do? And he's like, I don't know, maybe ask a judge. So I got up and I walked over, because there was only 1 judge for the entire tournament. There was only maybe like 40, 45 people. And I said, hey, I played 2 supporters, but I didn't start the second supporter. I played it down and like, I shuffled my hand. Like, what do you want me to do? And he's like, oh, that's an auto game loss. And I was like, oh, okay. So I went back to the table. I sat down. I scooped up all my cards, and I was like, it's an auto loss. And he goes, oh, you were going to win anyways. It's no big deal. And I was like, nah, I already told the judge, so he already marked me down as an auto loss. And then I proceeded to pack my bag, and then I left the tournament. I drove 45 minutes. Auto loss on turn 1.
That's you.
Person.
No, look, I already lost. Look, I lost. Why would I continue playing? I lost game 1.
Well, you could have won the rest of them.
No. At those like very small tournaments, you have to win everything. It's always, those small tournaments are always like 6-0 is winner, and then like 5-1 is like, look, I gave the guy the W. It's fine.
What this is really saying is you weren't playing the game to have fun.
Right.
You were playing the game to win.
Right.
It is, I feel like it is hard to have fun when you're at a tournament with like none of your friends.
I have the joy of playing the game. I
Yeah.
usually don't know anybody that I play my games against. I just enjoy playing the game.
When I went to Rock America tour in Chicago and I VZC'd against a bunch of 10-year-olds and I was the only one there, I was having a great time. Making them cry. They had to go back to their dad and be like, this older gentleman just wrecked my house. And I sat there smugly and said, yes, I did. What do you want to do about it? I had a wonderful time.
You know, the difference was you didn't mention the word Kenosha. And then it was like,
look,
gotta leave.
Anything in Wisconsin is automatically starting on the wrong foot.
All of Wisconsin?
Hey, Milwaukee's okay.
Yeah.
Madison's a gorgeous
the best
city.
you could say is okay.
Hey, speaking of okay, Pokemon UNITE finally saved here. Not that it's really in trouble. I guess that's the joke. But Aegislash is now available in Pokemon UNITE.
Ooh. Aegislash
is a melee all-arounder with spectacular sword play. That's what it says here on Pokemon.com. It will evolve. Honedge will evolve into Dual Blade at level 5. Aegislash at level 7.
Spectacular or spectral? I'm looking on the webpage and it says this melee all-arounder displays
Greg,
a spectral.
I was trying to do some editorial enhancements.
No, you weren't. You just read the word wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Editorial enhancements. This wasn't live. I'd be cutting out this me being dragged here. Hey, season. Well, we talked about this. I think like a week ago. They added the like $40 Cramorant skin. It's like cowboy stuff.
Yeah. There's like a big $1 million tournament or something.
Yeah. Swords and cowboys go together. I don't know. I don't really have much else to say about Unite. Here's the thing. I actually do want to play Unite. Like, there's a part of me that is itching to play this game, but Legends is out, and Pokemon Go has been pretty good recently with like the Valentine's Day event. I thought the Valentine's Day event was pretty all right, and then Johto Tours pretty soon, and Sword and Shield is doing the Milcery event, which we'll get to next.
And the bird thing.
The bird thing.
Yeah, get the shiny birds. Isn't that next weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Also part of news. It's very hard, I feel like, sometimes to be a Pokemon fan when you like everything. Whereas, like, if you just like Pokemon Go, your hands are probably full and you're probably spending a lot of money. And if you just like the main series, you can ignore this kind of stuff. You can ignore the TCG. But man, when you like everything, it's just like Unite is just like 3 steps away of being like the game you do want to put in.
Yeah.
But I would almost rather play Sword and Shield than Unite. And right now I just want to play Legends over everything else.
I mean, and if you have any other interests outside of that, your time goes away.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't play on Tuesdays because Tuesday is Final Fantasy Raid Night. Wednesdays, I go see my friends. Thursdays are sometimes open, but then I'll play Arceus. Fridays are Friday, and you got to go out on Friday night.
Oh, you got to go out on Friday night.
Excuse me? Go out where?
To Game Center to play games with my friends.
Oh, that's right. I wasn't invited. That's right. Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't have wanted to come.
Mm.
Saturdays are free-for-alls. Who knows what's happening on a Saturday?
Saturdays are spending 4 hours in the Mall of America walking in circles and then stopping at B-Dubs.
Sundays is this.
Hey, that B-Dubs is good.
And getting groceries. And then Monday is just dead weight of a day. Like, doing anything on Mondays hurts. Emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually.
You got to have a schedule, and it just happens that Unite doesn't fit into that schedule.
If Unite on my iPad would support my controller, I would probably be playing more Unite than
Agreed.
There is a new raid event in Sword and Shield. Sword and Shield is still a video game. It is still being supported. There is the.
Is this really new though?
It's not, but it's a good one to repeat. Because if you're a hardcore, because it's one way to get the rare sweets, right? People would have possibly gotten Sword and Shield for Christmas. It's February now. Hopefully they got Sword and Shield for Christmas instead of Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl.
Oh, stop with your hot takes.
It's not a hot take anymore. It's just reality.
Some of your stale takes.
Thought I muted those alerts. I don't know if that came through.
I can't hear it when you say.
I heard it. I don't know if they heard it.
Because it's the Star Suite and the Ribbon Suite, right? Those are the ones you can't get except for these events.
Yes, yeah. So I think it's a good raid event to repeat. Also, it's not like 3 days long. It goes until, so if you're listening to this podcast on Monday, February 14th, happy Valentine's Day. Catch your significant other or mom a love disc.
Happy Black Monday.
It goes until February 20th. There's a 2% chance in 5-star raids to get a shiny Milcery. If you were a hardcore collector and you wanted every different Milcery Alcremie to be shiny, I believe you would need 7 of them. So it is a good event to farm. The thing that I guess probably makes this different than what it was like a year ago is not a lot of people are playing Sword and Shield.
Is that you're on your own, kid?
So like going through raids with people and like other people searching for raids and you searching for raids and like going through them would be a lot faster, even if you had like 3 or 4 people doing the same thing as you. I have one shiny Milcery. It would be nice that this event is up to try to go for another 6 or just another handful. Maybe
I think I have one. Here's the thing. Every time I think about doing these things, I think about the YCOM, and that deflates my desire so much.
Maybe the YCOM is better because not many people are playing.
The amount of people didn't change that it never updated.
Yeah, you're right.
And the fact that when it finally did upgrade, I'm like, oh, there's a raid. It said, oh, that's gone. I just showed you something from 4 hours ago.
Yep.
Welcome to the YCOM.
Look, I don't know what else this. You're not wrong.
Look.
Yeah, but like I said, if you just got Sword and Shield for Christmas and you were trying to get all of them, this is like the only way to get like the Star Suite or Ribbon Suite. So that event is happening. It's a cool Pokemon, something to do. Also happening if it's Monday. If you're listening to this 14th, again, happy Valentine's Day. Go catch your grandma Alola Mola. That's the bad one of
this.
this.
To give to my grandma.
Yeah. That's the bad one. Make sure you sign up for your battles. Because what's going to happen is the battles are going to take place it starts on like Thursday night at whatever UTC time. It ends up being like 7 p.m. Central Time on Thursday night, which is, I think, midnight UTC. And then the tournament is going to start, and then people are going to come into my Twitch stream specifically and be like, oh yeah, the tournament, can I sign up? No, you can't sign up. The tournament started.
What website do I go to sign up?
You don't know. No website. You do it in the game. You go into Sword and Shield. You go to the Versus menu. You go. There's 2 options once you go to Versus. One's battle competition, and then one is stadium something. I don't even remember.
Lifetime movies.
You go to the one on the left.
Yeah.
No one has ever clicked the one on the right. I don't even know what the one on the right does.
I have accidentally clicked the one on the right, and I still don't know what it does.
If no one knows what that button does, 3 years later in Sword and Shield, no one knows what the right side does.
Maybe that fixes the YCOM.
No.
So you go there. It'll say casual battle, ranked battle, online competitions. You go to online competitions, then you hit register. That's it. That's all you got to do. Once the tournament starts on Friday, then you can pick your Squavit, your Rookidee, your Wooloo, your Blipbug, your
Magikarp.
No, you can't do 2
Mhm.
Magikarps. That's against the rule. 1 Magikarp.
Oh,
Oh,
only one of each
it's so
Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
complicated. Magikarp, Feebas, Barboach.
There you go. Okay. I'm liking this team.
Lumineon or Finneon?
Those are not in Sword and
What
Shield.
was the new dumb fish in this game?
Aracuda.
The Aracuda.
Aracuda. Yeah.
I like how the spinny.
Yeah, the
you know?
spinny. The spinny. Once the tournament starts, you have to do 3 matches. When it was originally announced on January 15th, 1 match.
They said 1, and then they baited and switched me. So like 1 and done, baby.
Now
I have to suffer through 3.
3. You don't have to win them. You just have to play them. Also, this question was asked a lot. Can you use rental teams? No, you cannot. You have to use your own team. You cannot use a rental team. It is considered an official tournament. That's also why you can only register per 1 NSO or whatever, 1 Switch account. Because it is an official tournament. So make sure you sign up. This month is for Articuno, and you'll have to do this all over again in March for Zapdos, and then you'll have to do this all over again in whatever comes after March, April for Moltres. Dates. So even though you sign up for this one, you'll have to sign up for the second. You'll have to sign up for all 3, and then you'll have to do the 3 matches this weekend, the 3 matches that weekend, the 3 matches. So 9 matches
and then
total.
May is my birthday tournament.
Yes.
Right, where you're only allowed to use Roselia.
Yep.
And the reward is the
giving me gifts.
ball guy luxury ball shirt.
The lack of luxury ball products and my ability to make luxury balls in Legends Arceus is currently the biggest stressor I have in my life. That is not true, but it is.
That's in the DLC, buddy.
It better be.
Yeah, it's when they had just Charizard and luxury balls, $19.99.
Charizard and gold deposits to make luxury balls.
No Charmander, no Charmeleon, just
you have
Charizard.
to melt down nuggets.
Only
you
Alpha
can't
Charizard.
turn them in. You melt nuggets are a thing to make luxury balls.
Final bit of news before we take a break is Brilliant Stars is coming out on February 25th. That is the official release date of the newest TCG
and yet,
set.
Somebody I know opened some, and it's not the 25th.
It is not. Yes, I did have an embargo from the Pokemon Company. They did, full disclosure, the Pokemon Company sent me a box of Brilliant Stars. No gas. I followed the embargo.
Broke street date?
No,
Somebody broke street date.
No, this weekend was
to play
I called
loosey-goosey with the rules and the laws.
This weekend was pre-release weekend, I'm sure. So there's a lot of people.
Lord Streamer was like, nothing applies to me. I'm going to call my friends at Nintendo and break street date.
It was pre-release weekend, so I was allowed to open it. You can get the build and battle boxes early. I think they sell them at like GameStop or something.
I really thought you were going to say Build-A-Bear. And I was like, what does that have to do with this?
So you can now go to Build-A-Bear and buy cards. I wouldn't be surprised if that was our future.
And then you could take the Charizard and put it as the heart of your Vaporeon.
I think we talked about set sizes last week. So Brilliant Stars is about 170 cards, which is the smallest set for the Sword and Shield series. A lot of these other sets were like 190, 200. Fusion Strike was like 270. It was disgusting. That's way too many cards. And I do like to give the spotlight. I do like to recommend when sets feel good initially. I think like when Champions Path came out, it had like a bunch of like buzz and stuff because there was a Charizard in that set. But Mick Champions Path was actually kind of terrible to open because all you got was Machamp like nonstop, and it was not a great set overall, even though it had a lot of buzz. I think the Celebrations, even though it's a pretty small set, I think it's like 60 cards. I do think that if you can find Celebrations in stores at like a Target or something, I do think it's worth buying, even if you're not like a huge TCG person. I think they're just genuinely fun to open and collect. And I'm getting that vibe from Brilliant Stars. I think because the set isn't huge, it's not 200 plus cards, and there is some really great cards like Arceus is fantastic art. There are Charizards in this set. Take it for what it's worth. I mean that they're going to be valuable no matter what. But there's also like really good cards competitively, like Luminion, which is just a copy of like Tapu Lele GX from the Alola. It's just a very good card. So I think between the sense of having competitive cards and having expensive like competitive would be Luminion, expensive would be Charizard, fun to collect would be like Arceus and some other stuff. I think this is maybe a set that you might want to, if you don't collect cards, you might want to go to like Target if you can find it, and maybe just pick up an ETB for like $40. And I genuinely think you'd probably have a pretty okay time opening it. I mean, I can't say like a great time because you could get like the worst booster packs ever, and hopefully you don't. But ideally, you know, if you get 2 or 3 like hits out of a $40 ETB Elite Trainer box, I think you'd be pretty satisfied with your money.
I know very little about the TCG, but this Cynthia's Ambition card is amazing.
Oh yeah, that's another fun thing about this set is there's there you have a chance of getting 2 good cards in a set. So they always put like well, this is bad for audio. I'm gonna spoil something for our video. So they come with the code cards, right?
Yeah.
You can see that they have a white border and a black border. So you can actually spoil the booster pack for yourself, because if it has a black border, it means that it's going to be really good. And if you have a white border, you just got like a trash booster pack. Also, the sun just came out and I'm getting blinded.
What?
Okay, we're good. I just had okay. So, so even in a white one, which is bad, you can still get the really fancy trainer. And so they have these really gorgeous trainer cards in the set, and they can even appear in the white ones. I think they're called trainer rares. But they have like a specific number. It'll say TG30. So there's like 30 of these. So this is really bad for our audio podcast. I'm sorry. This is Bill and Evie. And then I'll just show one more. Here is Blue and Vaporeon. So not only do they have like your Charizards, your Arceuses, your Luminions, they have these really great trainer cards that are really fun to collect as well.
So I'm looking online, and every version of Cynthia's Ambition is better. And I don't want the cards, but I want this one.
You want just
You're like one of those Pokemon card collector weirdos that only collects like one Pokemon. Like, I want every Starly that's ever been printed. You want every Cynthia's Ambition that's ever been made.
That out of this set, heck yeah. This card looks cool.
I've met those people at tournaments. You know, the tournaments that I don't like lose round 1 and then leave right away. But I've definitely met people.
The ones that you don't have a hissy fit and hang around for.
Yeah.
Kenosha,
remind you, Kenosha, where like they open their binder and it's like just all Goomy or like all like Miltank or something, and they're like, "Do you have any Miltank cards? I'll trade you whatever." And it's like, yeah, I guess.
Do you know which TCG folks are even better than those folks? It's the kids, they start out with a pack wrapper, and then they trade that for like a really bad common, and then they try to trade that for like a slightly better common, and they try to see if they can go from a pack wrapper up to like a really good card through trades.
If they can go from a safety pin to getting a house.
Yes. Yes. The Pokemon version of that.
You know what I wanted to do? No one steal this. No one's allowed to steal this.
TM.
What I want to do, yeah, this is trademarked. I want to go to Japan, and I want to try to finish some of my Japanese sets by trading with people in Japan, and have both English and Japanese cards, and like base. So in Japan they released Sword, and then they released Shield. They were 2 different sets, and each set had 80 cards. And then in America they released Sword and Shield, which is like 213 cards or whatever. And for both Sword and for Shield, I'm missing like 6 cards each, and they're like the rainbow rare cards. But I have duplicate rainbow rares. So I'm really only missing like 12 cards to complete the set. And like, I guess the easy thing to do is just like go on eBay and just like, here are the 6 cards I'm missing, and add them to my cart.
You know people in Japan. You could literally say, hey, minions.
No, but like, the cool thing about Japan is because they have so many Pokemon centers, and because they're always doing tournaments, they're like Tuesday night tournaments, Thursday night tournaments, Saturday morning tournaments, Sunday morning tournaments. And Like, you don't have to go to some obscure card shop, right? You just go to a Pokemon Center. They have the tournament area where people are playing cards, and be like, I have all these. Like, I think the interesting thing would be like, how can I conduct a trade? Look, I almost got abducted by a cult.
Here's all you need.
I didn't know any Japanese.
Is
So
Sumimasen Rainbow Death. All you need.
Ohayou gozaimasu.
Sumimasen Rainbow Death. And they will take it from there.
Sumimasen Lizardmon. But that would be, I would want to try to complete the sets I'm missing. That would be really great. Okay.
I mean, if you have a month to spend in Japan, absolutely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That would be a full series. Okay, so we're gonna take a break. When we get back from our break, we're gonna talk about Legends. There's a little bit of news regarding Legends.
There's a patch, and I don't know what it did.
I can tell you what the patch did. So we will take a break, and we will be right back. And we are back from our break. All right. Let's talk about Pokemon Legends. That's what people want to hear about. People also want to hear about...
What did the patch do?
Oh, well, I don't have the patch up in front of me right now. We could... We'll talk about the patch in a second. I got this. You're throwing me off my rrhythm, Greg.
You never have a rhythm.
People want to hear about Pokemon Legends. They also want to hear about IGN. This is off IGN. That was the transition.
Whoever wants to hear anything off of IGN?
Hey, look, this is just the news article I'm reporting on here. Nintendo has announced that Pokemon Legends Arceus has sold 6.5 million copies in its first week of release.
Wow.
They tweeted about this. Nintendo of America tweeted about this. So this is the fastest selling mainline Switch Pokemon game, which I think has been lost in translation here. I've been seeing on the internet this is the fastest selling Pokemon game ever. It is the fastest selling Switch Pokemon game ever. And it's not really by much, but Arceus has outpaced both Pokemon Sword and Shield and Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl in their first week of sales. The latest mainline games and the DS remakes managed to sell 6 million copies, and this sold 6.5 million copies. I don't remember how much they don't have Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee here. Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl are the 9th best-selling Switch games of all time currently. That's a bummer. Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee are the 8th best-selling Switch games of all time. Sword and Shield are the 5th best-selling Switch games of all time. So it is still unsure at the moment if Arceus will get up to that point. Arceus is the 2nd fastest-selling Switch game of all time, with Animal Crossing New Horizons being number 1. I actually think Sword and Shield was number 1 until Animal Crossing.
That makes sense.
I think I remember correctly.
I left Animal Crossing to play what Pokemon game?
Animal Crossing did not come out before Sword and Shield.
Yeah, but I left one of these to go play.
Oh, probably the
DLC.
DLC.
The DLC.
Oh, the DLC. Yeah. I wrote my standard mayor note. You're on your own.
You're on your own.
There's a better thing to do. Bye. Hazel, you ruined my town. I hate you forever. Bye.
It's like really weird because they like it's not weird to this article. Maybe it is weird to this article because the article says like the first week, a week is 7 days. Legends sold 6.5 million in 7 days. But later on in this article, it says Animal Crossing New Horizons became the fastest seller with 11.77 million copies in 11 days. I don't know why 11 was like the threshold here. Like, what did it sell in 7 days? That would be a good comparison.
Not that many.
But yeah, I don't think anything is gonna pass. I'm still curious, and we'll never know, of course, because it's not every year you get a global pandemic. But I am curious of how.
I mean, it could be.
Maybe at this rate it could be. I'm just curious the timing of lockdowns for the world, and the timing of COVID worldwide, and then the timing of Animal Crossing. That had to play a factor, right?
Oh,
It
it
was a
certainly
perfect
helps,
storm.
but Animal Crossing is a very popular game.
Yes.
You can't discount that.
No. If they ever combine these two, the world will stop.
Oh, if they are you saying like a Pokemon Animal Crossing?
Yeah,
They merge those together?
they merge those two together. That's like when Nintendo's like, we are about to go bankrupt. Release the gold. That will come flying into stores and they will be saved forever.
Yeah. That would be that. I'm curious because we know that they released 2 copies of a game, right? Red and Blue, Gold and Silver, incredibly well. I think it sold like 17 million copies or something insane like that.
That was timing. Yeah.
Well, that was also because they're like, hey, it's the anime, but in game form.
Yeah. Timing on that was really good. I mean, Red and Blue were already hot.
Well, see, the thing is, it took a while for Red and Blue to get to boil. And when it was at boil, that's when Yellow came out.
Yep.
So everybody's like, I'm going to get the new Pokemon
I'm going to get the one with Pikachu on the cover.
Yeah, and then this time with Jesse and James.
And leading up to Legends, specifically after the fact that it showed Irida and Adaman, I kind of thought to myself, and we talked about this, why didn't they just pull a Ruby and Sapphire? You put one in one version, you put one on the other. At the end of the day, they're similar. Game's been out for 2 weeks. We already talked about up to credits, but up to credits, you do pick one of the two. You pick them very last minute, and it really, spoiler, doesn't matter which one you pick.
I disagree. There was way I was not traveling in my time of need without my boyfriend at my side. Thank you very much. That choice
I can
was
see
very
that.
important.
Yes.
I mean, at the end of the game, you're still getting Dialga, you're still getting Palkia, you're still getting both the Centaur orbs or whatever those orbs are called.
They're globes.
So you're not
I didn't get any globes.
Well, once you get credits, you just have to go to their respective camps and then talk to them, and then they give you the orbs.
They ask so much of me. I gotta go to them. I just saved the world. They can't come to me.
No,
and
they have to go stand looking off into the horizon like, what choices have I made that brought us here?
And you have to battle them. And somewhere
fine.
lost in this game, in a game where they're like, no one likes the Pokemon battle. I'm scared of Geodude. Give me a Wurmple. Blah. These leaders that communities, religious communities look up to, these leaders that are also Pokemon trainers, still do not know how a formal battle works. When you fight Adam in post-game, he's like, here's like 5 Pokemon. Pick which one you want to attack. Like, no, man.
Formal battles don't exist.
One at a time.
You were asking.
One at a time. Get your Eevee out of here. Pull him away.
You are asking a primitive culture to establish formalized rules for a thing that's never happened before.
The real issue is you, who came from a different Pokemon universe where it was 1 at a time or 2 at a time, are like holding to your old ways rather than adapting to the situation in front of you.
This is
Let me send out 3 Pokemon. Look,
this is the one time that Will's colonizer argument actually works.
Look, let's rotation battle. Make it happen. I don't know. Triple battle.
Rotation.
Why? At least
there is
in the trials in Alola. When you're fighting Totem Lurantis isn't a Pokemon trainer. So when Cherub or whatever Comfey comes out of nowhere, you're like, primitive Pokemon. There are no rules. There's no one bossing you around. Adaman is over here telling 3 when you fight Sabby or whatever her name is, she's like, challenge me. I'm the best. Here's an Electivire, a Rhyperior, and a Magmortar, all in this hallway. And you're like, Girl, I got a Glameow right now. Like, what? Can I send out my Buizel too? Is that okay? Video game.
Your
I mean,
lack of being prepared and
be
your
honest,
strict mindset of I can only send one thing out holds you back, but also proves to them that you are a strong trainer, that you can take on their full force with your puny, locked in step.
well, yeah, like in the battle with Sabi, it was like Electivire was 30, Magmortar was 30, and Rhyperior was 65.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they don't know how to raise, they don't know what levels are, they don't know how to raise anything. You are here to say this is what an Elite Four is. I'm going to take over this mountain.
All of the trainers in this game that send out like 6 Pokemon, they're like the 12-year-old version of you, where you like you only power up your starter, and then you have just a bunch of filler Pokemon because you like don't want to level them up. The only difference is like the 12-year-old version of you is restricted to use one at a time, and they're like, just send them all out at once.
Whatever, here they are.
This is the Pokemon Company, because so many people complained, so many Will Andersons out there were like, I hate the fact that they have enforced experience share. Now they're like, well, look at what the world would look like if we didn't force you to use experience share.
This is what happens. Look at these rubes and their poor Pokemon choices and levels. Did
you just call them Pokemon?
Yeah. It's my new series.
Okay. What I was going back to is it's still slightly weird that they didn't just do the thing of releasing 2 versions. Like,
okay,
that was a kind of a risk in itself to put like they know, right? They know the amount of fans that buy 2 versions.
Okay, so you're positing 2 things that are incorrect. Number 1, people don't buy the Emeralds, the Platinums, because they say, I already played this game in the 2 version form. There is no predecessor game to this. Number 2, I will continue to argue that this goes back to they introduced so many changes that if they had had that one extra level of complexity, it would have turned people off.
House of Cards. Falling apart.
Do you think
also they
that's
can sell us they can sell us a second version in November?
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right. They could.
Pokemon Legends Giratina
this
coming.
is the fastest selling game they got. They are like everybody working from home. You are triple overtime because we gotta get another game out because we do not have Gen 9 ready.
I kind of didn't think about that.
Go.
Because they did that when Sun and Moon came out, that it had to come out because it was the 20th anniversary, right? Like they couldn't miss that date. They couldn't extend that any farther. It had to come out. They had Pokemon Go that year. They were riding that Pokemon Go wave. They had to ship that game. And then it was September or August where they announced Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. And it was like, this game is coming out 364 days after Sun and Moon. Not even a full year. We are moving this game out. And that game is better, right? Everything except for the story, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, better game.
Mechanically better, story lacking.
Yeah.
The story is the only downfall in that game.
One would argue that makes that game worse, but go on. Like saying there are high points in Buffy season 6 is still a bad season.
Hey, with your hot takes.
But you're right. They could just put out an ultimate version of Legends. They could do this. I didn't think about this.
We've added 400 more Pokemon for you to collect. Same story, because that's how we do third versions.
Do you think?
Have fun.
So Sword and Shield is the second best-selling Pokemon game of all time. It officially passed Gold and Silver, a couple weeks ago when they released sales numbers.
Those games can go in the dust.
Do you really think that there was some hesitation, like the difference between 6 million copies and 6.5 million copies in the first week? Not a lot. I mean, 500,000 is a lot, but
it's quite a few. Yes, it is.
500,000 is a lot.
500,000 viewers, that would be a big change.
Okay, 500,000 is a lot to other franchises. I would not say it's a lot to Pokemon.
That's like all of what Conquest sold. Like, yeah, it's a lot.
But I wonder if there wasn't such bad press, even if you were like, well, it was just limited to Reddit, it was just limited to Twitter, like it still did make it to like Polygon and IGN and like these websites that like casual fans read.
These websites that literally drag the internet for any hint of a story because they have to get 4 stories out a day is not like a rigging thing. Like, oh, because they reported on it. Until Forbes or Newsweek's reports on it, because those people have a lot to do.
I'm pretty sure Forbes and Newsweek did report on it.
Well, those are not trash.
But I've said this and I stand by this. I said this back, after everything is said and done, and how mad the internet was for Sword and Shield, specifically like the national decks, the like recycled graphics. Even though if you look at Legends, all of those like faces that they use in Legends are literally the same faces that were programmed in Sword and Shield, right? Like they made Pokemon models, they made character models. Like these things were copy and pasted throughout all the games, and that's fine. That's normal. Like animation studios do this all the time as well. Like the copy and pasting of the facial animations that you see in Legends is like no one brought that up, right? The lack of breeding in Legends, no one really brought that up and complained about it.
I brought that up.
Yes, we can always find a handful of people, but like the overall like
the general population,
what you hear about a game, like. And the reason I bring up breeding is because that was brought up for Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee. Like people did like, there's no breeding in this game. Like what? So. And no one really talked about, 1, the lack of a national dex in this game, and 2, that this is a very small Pokedex compared to other Pokemon games. Like, these things that were complaints about Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee and Sword and Shield did not apply to this game. The only thing that really stood out was...
Connect this to Pokemon Home?
They did. They said... Okay. They did when they announced it that there will be Pokemon Home compatibility in 2022. It was said at the same time.
They said it just like they said sleep. And we'll promptly forget it, and it will go into the dustbin.
Okay, we already talked about sleep has been added to Pokemon Go like a month ago. It will eventually come.
What? How did I miss that?
Did we not talk about it on the show?
No, we didn't.
No.
Oh, my bad. Well, we can.
That's what happens when you don't share your notes with us.
He's got no notes. Come on now.
There was hold on. Can we finish the Legends talk and we can go to the sleep talk?
I mean, I can't imagine Sleep Top is going to be very long, but yeah, go.
I don't believe that there's like a paralysis, but maybe there is of somebody walking into the store thinking like, I want to buy a Pokemon game and going like, should I get the one with the shield dog or do I get the one with the sword dog? Although I will say, when I'm streaming on Twitch and people come in and they're like, I'm curious of what Pokemon game to get, which one is the better one? It's like, no, they're exactly the same.
Shield dog.
They're not exactly the same. One has Oddish and one does not.
Yeah, there's like so many reasons why Shield is better.
But maybe that's paralysis for some people. Maybe they're like, oh, there's like 15 different Pokemon. I don't know which one to get. But that's not like
Look, choice paralysis is real. Go shopping with my husband. You will see what choice paralysis is.
Do you think, like in my head, I think they do one version because you do not need to trade. You can get all 240 Pokemon without trading anyone. They did the item thing. No trade evolutions, no version exclusives. Kind of the first time they did this for a main. This is the first time they've done this for a main series game.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's selling incredibly well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's selling incredibly well because of trade evolutions or because of version exclusives. I think it's selling incredibly well because they found a great formula that worked. And I think that Let's Go and Sword and Shield also had really good openings to their game too, and had like once people played them, they enjoyed it. Like there were some people that were very against motion control for Let's Go, or some people that were very burnt out for Kanto, but I think the people who were not burnt out for Kanto and could get over the motion control was like, this is a very delightful game. And
I mean, I'm both of those, and I still liked the game. And
then for Sword and Shield, once people got over the fact that, okay, not all the Pokemon are in, and the game is, the story's not that great, I think the new Pokemon and the multiplayer stuff that they added to Sword and Shield was really great and convinced people to buy it. And I think Legends has done this well, of like, hey, the catching Pokemon is extremely fun, it's extremely addictive, and the open worldness of this game is extremely great. I'm curious, though, if Legends runs out of steam, sold incredibly well, obviously, to be the second fastest selling Switch game, but if they announce DLC, does that pick it up? Do they not announce DLC and announce a second version, like an Ultra version?
I mean, I will say this. We were surprised that there was a DLC for Snap, and we got a DLC for Snap. I am no longer writing off them doing a DLC for a game, especially one that sells really well. I think it needs one? No. Do I think there'll probably be one? Yeah, they're going to capitalize on this and bring people back. I think
Agreed.
the thing about this is, unlike Snap, where completing the picture decks just felt very much out of your control in a lot of ways. Like, you had to know the secrets to be able to get the thing, to do the thing, to program it. This is, I can go out and collect things, and I've got very specific things to do, but I know where those are. I know how to get to them, and there's a few things that are rare, but I feel much more in control of my environment than Snap does.
I just look at, I don't disagree with what you said. I look at how many copies that Sword and Shield sold, 25 million. It's a lot. Like, no other Pokemon game has done this since Gold and Silver. Like, incredible, right? Does Legends get to that point? Is it that good that it gets to that point? Because Sword and Shield has a lot more things going for it, right? Not only does it have two versions, and some people are buying two versions, but it has a complete and the best competitive experience ever. It has breeding. It has a multiplayer aspect to it of like, hey, Dynamax Adventure is really great. You should pick up this game. We should do it together. Obviously, like, max raid battles probably have fallen off because not many people are playing, but like, does Legends get to 25 million?
I think one of the big contributors to Sword and Shield that is very hard to compare against other Pokemon games is the subsequent was an add-on. So it's like, once Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon came out, if you were looking for a new Pokemon game, you stopped buying Sun and Moon.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So if Legends Arceus in this fall has an add-on, then yes, it will continue to have, because next Christmas comes around, there are kids out there who don't have a Pokemon game, and someone will say, all right, I'm getting you the Pokemon game for Christmas. But if there's a new anything, Gen 9 or anything, it will cut off the sales of Pokemon Legends Arceus. And then it'll just be the people who are looking for it that will continue to buy it.
I am starting to think, though, that Legends doesn't have the legs that another Pokemon game has. Like, you can you have two things in Legends right off the bat, right? You have what Arceus tells you right at the start of the game: complete the Pokédex to find me. Okay, cool. And then you have the story, and then you get credits. And I think where they run credits is a bad spot.
Yep.
I still think that. And again, we only know this from looking at like Xbox trophies or PlayStation achievements, that not a lot of people finish games. And if they do finish games, you can look at like the trophies or the achievements and go, oh, they didn't, like, they literally stopped when they got credits. And so we know, just based off that just gamers, when they get credits, unless you watch Twitch streams, if you're obsessed with YouTube, Pokemon content on YouTube, you're a hardcore fan. But there are also just the fans that go in, they buy a Pokemon game, they get credits, or they buy whatever, they move on to the next game. Not that there's anything wrong with that. That's how I am as a Zelda fan. Like, I will buy every Zelda game. As soon as I see credits in that game, I'm done. Like,
bye.
And that's like, I love Zelda. It's just I don't care about collecting the Korok seeds. I don't care about getting every single heart piece. I don't care about getting every mask and like, when I go to beat Giant Pig at the end of video game and I get credits, I am now like closing that book. if I wanted to do something before credits, I would have done it. Like, I want to do the side mission, but I don't want to do it after I beat Giant Pig. I'm done with the game at that point. And I think there are Pokemon fans like that. I'm doing everything I want to do.
Oh, there's a lot of Pokemon fans like that.
And then when I go to Ramen Packet, either Dialga or Palkia.
He means bombs.
Yes.
Bombs.
People get confused.
There
Here's
are
the thing. I
probably...
think first are going to be hurt because we're not near a holiday.
Yes, agreed.
Valentine's,
get Legends Arceus for Valentine's.
Yeah, we are near a holiday. We're near Valentine's Day. Hey, you know, that St. Patrick's Day sales really increased.
St. Patrick's Day sales. I think, which makes me think that there will be a DLC towards the end of the year to reinvigorate sales close to that holiday. The bigger question is are they going to release something else at the end of this year? And that is the big question mark.
Yeah. And it can't be Legends. It's just that game has no abilities. It has no held items. It has it can't be that.
So, I like how you make that determination. They have to.
They have to. They're not.
If they do Legends Pokemon can go into. They could do that. I guess
they could do a lot. I mean, it really.
They just have to have a plan for Legend. They have to have a plan for competitive after August, and they don't right now.
They have to have a plan. They also have to be planning now because this is selling really well. So it's hard to say what they had in the hopper, what this gives relief for, and what it doesn't. So depending on where the anime and product by having this game be so successful, where does that release things? If it releases things at all. I do think as well as this game is selling that we will see something to reinvigorate the sales for this holiday season.
Yeah,
for the coming holiday season, sure.
I just think that I feel like Legends to me has the same. This is not a bad thing, and by no means do I think Legends is a bad game. I think it's incredible. Legends to me kind of has the same feel that Pokemon Snap did, where you can go through it, you can have an incredibly great time, you can get to credits, and you can feel like your $60 was well spent. And you kind of have to be a pretty hardcore fan to want to go and find the rest of the Pokemon in that Pokemon Snap Dex. And then you have to be an even more of a hardcore fan to be like, I want to try to get every picture. And then you have to be an even more of a hardcore fan to be like, I want to 4-star all of these pictures. And I feel like Legends has that same feel. You can go through, you can have a great time, you see credits. Now you have to be a kind of a hardcore fan to complete your Pokedex. But you have a reason to complete your Pokedex for Legends.
I disagree in a little bit in the fact that shortly after credits, you get introduced to another quest line really quick. There's not a lot of space between when credits end and somebody comes to you and say, hey, there's a lot more to do. And I think much like a lot of quote unquote main series games where there's a gap between people telling you where to go next, I think Legends is smart and says, hey, there's a lot more to do. This person's right here telling you, let's go do this. And I think it's easier to get drawn into the post game in this series than it is in other things.
Yeah, is much more enjoyable and much more it is genuinely fun to go out there and catch. So the loop they created is incredibly addictive. So they have that going for them. But
the loop they created in Snap to get all the things to show up is not always fun.
Yes,
maybe I'm just that I'm like, nah, dog, I'm done.
Maybe I'm just bad at Pokemon, but the game's been out for over 2 weeks, and I have not get 10 to everything yet. I haven't even seen all the Pokemon. I haven't seen Landorus.
Oh, what's the rush, dude?
It's not a rush, but it's not a rush. It's just still asking a player to do a lot.
For a player to enjoy the game for an extended period of time to get the value for the dollar they spent. Yes.
Yeah, but let's say I still think if you don't complete your Pokedex and you go through the game, I still think it's worth $60. I still think it's super
absolutely.
Enjoyable. So if you complete your Pokedex, if you if even if you got 10 to everything, the next step is to like perfect it, which is a lot to ask. I keep saying a lot to ask, but it is a lot to ask. And in Sword and Shield, you could be like, well, just shiny hunt. Well, yeah, but if I don't like shiny hunting, I can go to the battle tower. Or the other great thing that I think people are forgetting with Sword and Shield is I can do max raid battles with friends. I can do Dynamax Adventure with friends. I can, and they had events. Like, they had an event once a month. Like, hey, it's Wailord this month. Hey, it's Clefable this month. There's a reason to come back to that. Legs.
That's okay.
They could easily say that this is all you're getting. I don't think they will because of the sales numbers, but I do think it's okay if people walk away and then something draws them back and be like, this is a cool event, because a lot of people walked away from Sword and Shield and came back when other things happened.
Mhm.
Some of them never came back till the DLC happened, and that was a huge chunk of time. And Sword and Shield got huge legs,
Yeah.
and then for that holiday season, it was like, buy this and all the expansions in one, and like it was a great selling point. So we could see in the summer, like, here's the Arceus DLC, and then at the holiday, here's the bundled game, the DLC and the main game together. Like, these are all possibilities. It's just really hard to predict. I think we all knew what would happen if the game sold poorly. It'd be a one and done. Now that the game is selling really well, it's very hard to predict how they're going to capitalize on that.
Yeah, I'm glad it's selling well. It's one of the best Pokemon experiences out there. I just don't think it's one of the fullest Pokemon experiences out there.
No, but I don't
it
think it was
doesn't
ever
have to
built
be.
to be that.
Yeah,
either.
Yeah.
I think people went in with the expectation that this was going to be like a ranger or a mystery dungeon. Like, it's going to be its own unique thing. It's going to have its own unique feel to it. And people didn't put as much expectational weight on this game as they did on like Sword and Shield.
Well, I know somebody who went into it saying, well, this is going to be like, let's go Pikachu, let's go Eevee. It's a small experience and you're done. And it's a bit bigger than let's
Yeah,
go
it's a bit
Pikachu,
bigger.
let's go Eevee. So
it is a bit bigger, but it's not
people
as big
have
as it
been
looks.
wrong in the past.
Yeah.
Not me.
Yes, you have.
Hey, the update,
Emo form
and happy
and
form.
therapy form.
Yes.
Yes.
if Cherim transformed during your battle, its catch rate became 0. It became impossible to catch when it transformed.
Nice.
So they patched that. They fixed that. There was like some other bug fixes that they didn't like specifically say. So that was the main thing they fixed in this update. The other minor thing that they fixed, but they didn't actually tell anyone about, is when a distortion pops up on the map, there's like a small white circle that appears, and you can actually see it count down. So you can see how much time is left in the distortion. They added that, but it wasn't in the patch notes. And it's like helpful. It's just very hard to see. You have to zoom into the map all the way, and even then it's like not really clear, but it's there if you want to see how much time is left on the distortion. If you can find a distortion.
Did they change how Pokemon go into pastures, or am I just not paying enough attention?
Go into
No.
pastures?
Yeah,
that's
because
the
he's
thing.
always going to first box, but some are showing up in way later boxes after I've caught them.
What, really?
Yeah.
No, my
and I
patch is
don't
the
know if that's
same.
just me not paying enough attention and I'm making that up. But there's been a number of times when I'm like, oh, it's going to be in the first few, and I'm like, no, it's not. It's where I stopped looking at like 16, and I don't know if that's just me. It could be.
I haven't moved any around, so mine always just append at the end.
Yeah.
The next
I
box.
haven't noticed that. Will, other people had your Wurmple problem. There's tons of other people that their Wurmple has not evolved either.
Okay. I am 6-star now. Congratulations to me, because that's a lot of work. And I just got on the blackboard a quest saying Cascoon or whatever is evolving. Check the evolution. Go talk to Bojin.
Did you did you have both a Cascoon and a Silcoon registered in your decks? Is that
No,
the
I had
trigger?
not hadn't caught any. So I think
I wonder if
that may
that's what
be it
was
because
it.
I
I
did
bet you
catch it.
that's it.
I caught a Cascoon this morning, and then that's when it popped
Then
up.
it popped up. Yeah, there was a bunch of people after the episode that was like,
Well, if
"Oh,
certain
yeah, yeah, yeah."
people didn't make me rush through the game, and I could have
Look,
casually
you
grazed
you wanted to be on.
Oh, that's debatable.
You wanted to be a part of this experience. Hey, we can talk about I want to do the last 30 minutes for Twitch chat and questions like that. So, before we take our final break, the data miners for Pogo, they're the ones that are like, oh, new stickers are being added. Oh, like Flabebe, Floette is like the new Pokemon for Valentine's Day. Like Niantic or most game developers will have to push like a seed early because it needs to be approved by Apple and Google. And then once it's approved, then they can like unlock it. And once that seed is sent out, seed being like the next copy for people who don't know. I know you guys know. The data miners figure it all out. So over a month ago, it was like, yeah, I think it was the beginning of January. There was an update that was pushed that had data for Pokemon Sleep, specifically the plus plus. You guys remember the? So there's the Go Plus, which there's the Pokemon Go Plus, which is like the little like Pokeball with the button that you press. And then when Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee came out, they gave the Pokeball Plus, which is auto. So the only difference between the Pokeball Plus and the Pokemon Go Plus, is that the Pokeball could auto spin stops if there was a Pokemon inside, and if there was a Pokemon inside, if you synced it with Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, you would get like nuggets and candy and that kind of stuff.
That works in Sword and Shield too.
Yeah. So you would get stuff for walking, but when you're like, so this is my problem as a hardcore Pokemon Go player is you got phone in one hand, you got Pokeball Plus in the other hand, and if you want a coffee, I don't have a third hand for that, and so it's like really hard to like hold both. Right, and then
that's why you get a coin and a strap. Put it around the Pokeball Plus so the button is always pressed.
But I still want to look at the screen,
your day.
right? Like I still want to look at the screen.
Well, but then you've got coffee because your Pokeball Plus is strapped up and hanging to your belt. You hold the coffee and your phone.
But then that's auto catching, and it might auto catch and fail shiny.
Give yourself a 15-minute break to enjoy your coffee. Free of distractions.
Look, Community Day doesn't give me a 15-minute break. So
it does. It's 17 days long.
But wait, also
we stopped at 8 at B-Dubs in the middle of you can drink coffee in 5 minutes.
I come to the closest thing of auto catch because I just hold the ball in my hand. I never look at my phone and I press like it gives me a little vibrate. I press. I still walked away with what 12 shinies yesterday. What is this fear of auto catch missing a shiny?
Okay, for a Community Day, it's like not that big of a deal, right?
Because it's like away shinies for free. They are useless and worthless now. So,
but on like a Johto tour, right? You want to check those Johto Pokemon maybe in a specific order. Okay, so here who cares about Pokemon Sleep? No one cares about Pokemon Sleep. We care. I
do. I'm a big fan of Sleep.
I love Sleep.
If I can
about the Pokemon device while I'm asleep, that adds 8 to 9 hours of Pokemon playing.
The Pokeball Plus or whatever they're calling it. The device. It looks like a puck, right? I have an Anchor charger right here. I'm sorry, audio listeners. It looks like this. The Pokeball Plus. There's a button on the back, right? But the nice thing about what this looks like, hopefully they haven't changed it, is it's like flat. So if I could put it on the back of my phone, right? It's not going to be magnetized, but if I'm holding the phone now, look at this. I can press that button, have coffee in one hand, screen I'm still watching, but because I can't do that with a look. This is a disaster right here. I can't do that. I can't do this. I am trying as a professional Pokemon trainer. I'm trying to find the right tools for the job. And I want this device. Who cares about Pokemon? So give me the plus. Give me the flat. Put it on the back of my foot. Press the button. I'm excited for it.
At some point, we need to delve into this professional part of Pokemon player, because I am going to argue hardcore against this premise. There's only one person on this podcast that is Google certified Pokemon Master.
Oh, because you took that quiz.
One has the business cards from Google certifying me on the largest search engine and controls your life, Google. It's the only one on this show that is recognized as the master.
Did you renew your Pokemon Master license, Greg?
Do you know how many tests I have to take every year? You're like, I can't take a driver's test. A thing that 16-year-olds
the driver's test?
You don't even know what I have to go through to remain a master with Google.
Minnesota native, you didn't have to take the admissions exam. You don't know anything about what we have to take.
When I was 16.
It's a different test.
The Department of Minnesota Vehicle Bureau are making us jump through. You don't even know how close you're allowed to drive to a cyclist.
Yes, I do.
That's because I told you the answer yesterday.
No, you didn't. You made up a whole bunch of garbage.
Yeah, because if the test is like, how close are you allowed to be in a bicyclist in a car? Is it 6 feet or is it 3 feet? And I'm thinking, well, COVID now exists. I'm supposed to be 6 feet away at all times. Should I be 6 feet away from the bicycle driver? Because what if I'm driving a convertible
Greg,
and he's
I'm back
not wearing
on your
a mask?
side.
But the actual answer is 3 feet. But when I'm at the checkout in Target, it's supposed to be 6 feet.
It is -3 outside. You are not driving a convertible in -3 and worrying about a person who is literally covered head to toe in 18 masks and a scarf on a bike so that they can perhaps not freeze to death on their way home, whether or not you're going to give them COVID. We have bigger outdoor worries than you, Mr. I'm going to sneeze all over you in a mall like you did yesterday and then think that's fine.
I sneezed once in the mall.
Twice!
And
you are the worst! You're like, blah, blah, I'm fine. Your face looks like it's been ravaged by disease.
Hey, we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we are going to take questions from Twitch chat. So we will take a quick break, and we will see you guys in a little bit. And we are back from our break. All right, 500 episodes. It's been a ride. Wanted to make sure we got the normal. You know, I listen to a lot of podcasts myself, and I was like, how do they do their anniversary episodes? And it's just like normally just a normal episode.
Not everyone. Some of them are like, this is a bonanza.
Yeah.
Answer Me This usually did like a bunch of guest people would come and answer questions, except they had like famous celebrities.
Shout out to the people that are here. So we can't get to every question. Trying to keep this to like 30 minutes.
Yeah, good luck. We've never kept it to 30 minutes in our lives.
Yeah, you know. Well, if Will didn't talk so much, we would be out of here soon.
Seriously.
What kind of questions are fair game? Pretty much anything. Pokemon related. You know, it's same as emails. You know, not all the email questions we take are Pokemon related, but
true. I mean, I'm sure the mods will erase any questions that are not appropriate.
Did you coordinate your shirts today? Everyone's wearing blue. No, not coordinated.
Absolutely not.
I mean, there's only so many colors that you made shirts in. And I was not going to not wear one of the shirts from the archive. Although I will say I almost wore the mod hoodie just because I knew we would be here. But the thought of putting on a hoodie was an absolute no-go.
This is a good question. This is from Prime in chat. How did you all meet? I feel like I've always told my side of the story, but I don't think I've ever heard your guys' side of the story. Besides, like, you guys both listened to the podcast and then reached out to me.
Have we ever met? That's like some presumption right there.
I mean, I came in later. Will, do you want to start? Because you were first.
So it was in February of 2012, or actually I think it was January 2012, but it started around February of 2012. When the actual website for the program was something with articles and updates Steve was looking for people to write articles for the website, and I volunteered to start doing a weekly Pokemon of the Week column. The first one I did, I'm pretty sure, was actually on February 14th, and I did Totodile. But then, so I did that for a few months, and then U.S. Nationals came up. It was July, because U.S. Nationals used to always be in July of 2012, and I decided to drive out to Indianapolis to meet up with everybody. And I showed up halfway through the day, and Steve and Vinny were playing a TCG match, and I walked up and started looking at them, and nobody realized it was me. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Irene caught me in the hall because I texted her, and then she ran over and gave me a hug because that's Irene's mode. And then I went in, and then I didn't interrupt the TCG game. And then I said hello. And there you go.
I remember Vinny, but I've never met Vinny.
Well,
No, because
he's
you never
gone.
went to a regionals or a national.
Right. I've never been to regional
Yeah.
world. Okay, so Steve refused to come to my wedding.
That's true. I remember that.
So here's how it started.
Wow.
I was a longtime listener, and then you had started the Tuesday Night Games podcast, and you were all like, I need to learn how to play D&D. And I was like, look, I am ideal to introduce you to D&D because I've always wanted to do a Pokemon D&D thing together. So we started talking more regularly, and then Irene on Twitter was like, I want to come to your wedding. And I'm like, okay, we've never met, but I guess if you want to come to a wedding where you will literally know nobody and meet me for the very first time, whatever, here's an invite, and then you refuse to show up, which is fine because it would have been weird.
Standard.
And then after you humming and hawing and being like, I don't know, that work, blah, blah, I finally got you to play D&D, and you're like, well, we're going to record it. So I said, fine. So then we started doing Mythical, and that was in 2015, end of 2015, beginning of 2016. And then it was like, oh, we got to Gen Con. Let's all meet at Gen Con to record Mythical stuff, and then we can finally meet in person. And I had never been to Gen Con. I was like, I guess. So I drove by myself to Gen Con to meet you all, and that was the first time, and I met everybody.
Yeah.
At the Pokemon merchandise booth that first day.
I do remember that. But you also you had one of the premium, because before we even did Patreon, the first ever time the show made money was we did a Kickstarter, because
I did a Kickstarter.
Patreon was, I think Patreon was a thing, but it was still so new that people weren't really using it. And then I saw
Episode
a lot of
170.
I saw a lot of podcasts would go on Kickstarter and they would do we want to do a whole year. We want $2,000 to do the year, and you get your name in the credits. You did all that stuff. So that was the first time, and the show was around for 5 or 6 years, and that was the first time the show ever made money. Was we did a Kickstarter. We raised a bunch of money. One of the premium tiers was, I think it was $100, and you would be on an episode. And it was limited to 10 people, and I think Greg did that.
I did that because I actually hit right after the Kickstarter hit right after I got a work bonus.
And
so I was
spent it well.
I was like, well, sure, I'll go on a show and I'll show everybody what a guest is like that talks too much, because most people are humming and hawing and don't know what it is.
Some of those folks, we were dragging words out of them. You got that right.
I have been screaming at you in my car for about 5 years now, and I'm going to scream at you live. This is my moment. I'm paying $100, and I'm going to make it count.
That was always those episodes were always fun, but some people would be so excited to be on, and then once they would be on, they would freeze up and be very nervous and not say a lot, which is
I mean, I was an actor, so I was like, this is nothing. You just get to talk to people that I'm friendly with. I'm in.
Okay, chat was moving really fast. There was a lot of questions. So this is from Bear in chat. If you could bring one of the new Pokemon from Legends into the current competitive, which would it be?
I mean, apathy mostly, but Overquill. I think Overquill is a lot of fun.
I don't do competitive. So it's kind of hard for me to think about it. What I do, here's the thing. I really, really, really like Typhlosion,
Yeah.
and I want that to come forward. I really like this version of Typhlosion a lot, and I know it's like a commonish type, but I love its design, and I'm not much a competitor, so like I really like Cyndaquil's my favorite Gen 2 starter. So like sold on the whole thing.
So I have a question because I've been trying to think this through. Chandelure was the first ghost fire, right? Fire ghost, ghost fire, whichever way it goes.
Yeah.
Okay. And then like we waited a while and we got a Alolan Marowak.
Yeah, I love Alolan Marowak so much.
Okay. And then I was like, oh, okay, so the new Typhlosion's the new Ghost Fire. I was like, I've got half a team, but I forgot about Blacephalon.
Yeah.
I've got 4 out of 6.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
almost there.
Because if I could do an entire Ghost Fire team, I'm down.
We're getting there. We're
For
getting there.
competitive, I would want to say Ursaluna because I think out of all the new Pokemon, I think Ursaluna is like my favorite.
Isn't it just normal though?
It's normal ground.
Oh,
But I would probably say the one that would maybe have the most impact. I don't know. I'm sure like these high-end competitive players, they probably made videos about like which Pokemon would do well. In my head, I would think that Hisuian Zoroark would do really well. 'Cause it can't get hit by normal
that's
moves,
a really good one.
or it can't get hit by fighting moves. It can't get hit by ghost moves.
no, it can get hit by Ghost moves. It takes extra damage from Ghost.
You can't get hit by normal
Wait,
moves
because
and
it's just plain Ghost. It's not
No,
Ghost
it's Ghost
Dark.
normal.
it's normal Ghost.
Oh, geez.
So it can't get
I
hit
didn't
by
even
Ghost.
notice that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It gets wrecked by Dark.
It does get really wrecked by Dark, yes. This is from Cappy. If is Pokemon each of your favorite franchises? If not, what is it? If so, what is your second favorite franchise?
Wow, so many branching possibilities.
Star Wars is my number one franchise. Always has been, always will be. Pokemon is number 2.
Maybe what if you restricted it to video games only?
Video games only?
They do make Star Wars video games.
Yeah, but most Star Wars
but
video games
Greg
I'm not a
doesn't play
fan of.
those.
So if we go video games only, then Pokemon's my top video game, and then Final Fantasy is the one right below it.
What is it for you, Steve?
I would probably say Pokemon number 1 franchise, and I would maybe say Monster Hunter number 2 at this point.
See, I'm
Destiny
having
used
a
to be
hard
really high, but man,
Yeah.
Destiny fell for me.
Well, Sony bought them, so they may be coming back. That's a discussion I've been having recently with not you people. I will play I will make it a point to play Monster Hunter every single day. I will get to a point in any Pokemon game where I'm like, you know what? I've done everything I want to do with this Pokemon game, and I'm done. I'll walk away. So I think I might say Monster Hunter has to be number 1, and then Pokemon is number 2.
This is
I see people are like, "What about Animal Crossing?" Nah, Animal Crossing will never be it.
Animal
never,
Crossing probably
never.
top 5 for me.
Asks way too much from me on a daily basis for me to like that game long term. And some of those animals will never be happy and like then leave. Just get out. And the ones that I want to stay, that I do literally everything to make them happy, like, it's been so great here, but like, what about my horizons? And I'm like, if you leave, I will abandon this town. And the next day they're gone. I'm like, well, get wrecked, everybody else. You're stuck with Hazel. I'm out. Peace.
This is from Box Boy. When you started the podcast, did you ever think this podcast would be as successful as it is? I don't know how to define success. It took us 10 plus years to get like an ad deal with the show.
That's not true. That's not true. We used to advertise those socks.
Yeah.
You used to have a Squarespace ad.
Okay, those were very one-off. I think the sock was like a 4 ad deal. Squarespace, I think, was like a 2 ad deal. I think I would say the podcast to me is very successful just because of the Patreon. and like how many people enjoy the podcast enough to go that extra level to support on Patreon. If it wasn't for both Patreon and Twitch, I don't think I'd be able to do this full time. Like one of them is not more dominant than the other, so I kind of need both. But yeah, I guess in a sense, like having a community around the podcast and having people that want to get extra rewards or just want to, there's like a bunch of people who support the Patreon and they're like, I don't care about rewards. Here's just my $5. Just keep doing what you're doing. It's like super, super flattering. But when I started the show in 2010, which was like right after Heart Gold Soul Silver, but before Black and White. Black and White came out in Japan first, and then everyone had to wait like 6 months because they weren't doing worldwide games. I had there was like zero desire to make money or to make it a business or any of that stuff. Like, which is funny because we were talking about hobbies the other day on Twitch, and it's like a lot of people like it feels like it's so hard to start a hobby now because it's like I want to start a hobby, but how do I make money out of this hobby? And it's like sometimes
how's about you just do it for fun?
Yeah. Like you can just knit for fun, or you can just skateboard for fun, or you can just.
I mean, TTRPGs are still my hobby. I have written things in that field as a thing that I wanted to do as an extension of that hobby, and the money I get from those are like a bonus. But I do think that people have decided to put a whole, like, it's not the only measure of success behind a hobby is if you make money off of it. And I really want to get back to hobbies are meant to make time pass in fun ways and to make your life fun. And a lot of the times that is not trying to make money at that hobby.
Yeah. So when I started the show, it was like that was to me in my head, like podcasting is divided into like before Serial and after Serial, because I feel like Serial is that one podcast that
the podcast Serial, not Serial.
Yeah,
like,
not like
why
not
are we
like
bringing
Magic,
this up?
Not like Magic Spoon.
It's like, what is going on? We do not have them as an ad this week.
So like even though podcasting was like a pretty, like I would say podcasting is still not like really, really mainstream. Like the people. So when I started the show, it was just like I thought initially I knew a lot about Pokemon. I didn't back then. And there were other Pokemon podcasts, but they were inactive. And I just wanted to hear people talk about Pokemon the way people talked about other games. You know, I listened to like so many video game podcasts, and none of them would really like talk or cover about Pokemon. So I was like, I want to do it because I like love podcasts and I want to do this. Like in no sense was I like, I want to make money. It was like I just wanted to talk Pokemon every week with people and do it, and I was excited, and I continued to be excited. And there was like a small part where I was like, oh, maybe I won't do this forever. And then I don't know, I kind of just I think it was around the time where Wheels left the show and then Greg came on the show, which is like, and I think Greg's energy and Greg's excitement really like pushed it forward.
And the fact that I'm a very, very fast and loud and nonstop talker.
Yeah. So
it
like
is difficult to shut me up.
Like the excitement started again there. And then obviously then I started doing Twitch, and then I lost my job, and then I was like, let's pull the trigger to try to make this full time. So that's probably a very long-winded answer, but like the first 4, 5, 6 years of the show, it was just like I just wanted to talk Pokemon with people. So so it is very flattering that like there are so many people who support the show now at a level. It's very humbling. This is from Andrew. Out of all the distribution events in the past Pokemon games that we've never received in America, what was the one you wish you've gotten?
I'm still mad that we didn't get that really great 3DS that only Japan got. That gold one.
Gold X and Y one.
To this day,
I was ready to throw money at that. Heck yeah!
I was like, I will fly to Japan at this point to get that thing because I wanted it so bad. Not enough to go onto eBay and buy it because the eBay is sketch. But man, I wanted that so much.
Yeah, because I bought like what was it? Like I bought the red X and Y one for me, and I bought the blue one for my ex. Waste of money right there. And then, but I was still like, if they give us the gold one,
Oh
I
yeah,
will buy the gold one.
because I had imported the Torchic orange GBA, and that was at a time that I was like, I really need to be not this bad with my money. So the thought of doing it again, like I couldn't fly that past our budget to save. It was just not going to happen because it was like I already have a ton of 3DSs. I just can't. But I wish if it had come here and been an American pricing, then yeah, I would have snapped that up in a second.
And if the question asker wants us to respond with a Pokemon distribution that wasn't in the United States without me having a chart of which ones weren't in
I'm
front of
looking it
me,
up.
For me, it would
you're
probably
kidding
just be like
yourself.
any of the Drachis that were distributed during the Tana. What was that called? Tana Bonnie event? Gosh, I can't remember what it's called now. It was an event.
There's been a lot. I mean, this series has been around forever.
Yeah.
God, any of the mythicals that there's been so many good things. I don't want any of the Pikachus. I'll tell you that.
Tanabata. This is from
But I
Mike.
mean, we have all the mythicals, so it's like not like we've missed out on anything.
Yeah, but
super.
they have ribbons and shinies and certain balls.
Nobody cares about ribbons.
Yeah, I know. I care about ribbons. This is from Mike. What was your most impactful, fun, and or enjoyable moment in any Pokemon game?
I talk about this one a lot because this was the I mean, so I fell in love with Rosalia the minute I saw it. The design, the face, the whole thing was super sassy and great. The thing that made me love the deeper part of the game was fighting Kroger at the top of Mount Battle, not being able to get past it, deliberately making a Rosalia to survive, hit on Ice Beam, 1 HP, Giga Drained, obliterated Kroger, won the Battle Mountain. I was like, this is the greatest moment of my life. I will never top this.
I think for me, and this is obviously harkening back to a time where I had not any exposure to Pokemon community or discussion or anything. When I was playing original Black and White and I did Victory Road and I get to the end of Victory Road and I'm like, oh, I'm going to go up against the Elite Four. And what? No, this huge castle appears out of the ground. And it's like, nah, you're doing my biz.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that was so unexpected.
Like,
and also the fact that they make it so that like after you get through that, you can then go back through and have the normal fight, for the Elite Four and champion and all that.
I have two moments. One, the video game moment I had was when I received the email from the Pokemon company that I qualified for Players Cup 2. So that was pretty impactful because I thought that my competitive knowledge really lacked on the show and just in general. And that was like a void in my Pokemon knowledge that I was missing. So I paid to get coached by like a world champion, Paul Ruiz, who won the 2017 World Championships, I think. So I paid a lot of money to get coached by him for a lot of weeks, and to like qualify for that event was really, really fantastic. And then the other one was when I was in the Fort Wayne regionals, and I was playing Sableye Darkrai, and I was able to top cut that event. And at the time, it was like the biggest TCG regionals. I'm sure the regionals are much, much bigger, but at the time, it was the biggest TCG regionals that ever happened. And I came in top 8, and it was really, really great to come in top 8. I can't remember what my prize was. It was like 16 booster packs, I think, for coming in top 8. But I dead drew and I got eliminated in top 8, which was like a bummer. But sometimes you just dead draw. It was funny because the guy was like, "Oh, you should beat me easily," and I was like, "I know, I'm just I cannot draw one single supporter card."
I thought you were going to say the time that you beat whoever that was.
Oh,
and
Wolf
standing
Glick?
in line. Yeah,
Mm.
your fake story.
Yeah.
Junk Hunt, yeah, Junk Hunt.
We need to get
Supposedly.
Wolf on this podcast and confirm this fake story you're telling.
This is from Nick. Was there a specific moment at the beginning of recording the podcast where you sat down and you thought, "Hey, this was going to work"?
Go back and listen to those first ones, and I'll tell you the answer is no.
Yeah, there was like a lot of like learning how to like do a podcast and like how to edit. Like I taught everything myself. Like I taught myself how to edit, taught myself how to publish, taught myself how to like advertise the show, all that stuff. The only thing that really like kept me going, because when I published the podcast originally on a platform called .mac, which is now called iCloud.
Wow.
Yeah, so
I mean, I
.mac.
still have my still have my Mac email. I refuse to give it up no matter how much they ask me to give it up, and I say no.
.mac turned into Mobile Me, which turned into iCloud. But .mac, one of the things was like you could publish a podcast for free, and another thing was like you could make a website for free. Like it was part of your like $99 a year email address that Apple sold. But you didn't get like there was like no statistics. So I would just put the podcast out there, and then that was it. So the only way I knew people were listening were like if people wrote in and emailed. And so they would like, that was like literally the motivation I had at the beginning, was like people being like, "Hey, I really love the show. Can't look, the show makes my day." So like just those emails alone was like, I have no clue how many, like, I don't know if like 10 people are listening and one person wrote in. I don't know if 100 people are listening. I don't know if 1,000, I don't know. Now we're on like an actual proper podcast platform we switched to like 3 or 4 years ago. So now we have like accurate stats and all that stuff. Not that that like changes anything, right? It's not like,
let's put asterisk next to accurate. It's as accurate as they're willing to get.
Yeah.
Hey, it is
Still,
IAB
still real
certified.
bad.
This is from Mike's. Given Legends' method to filling a Pokedex, what do you think the possibility of having different tracks in future games? Gym badges versus researcher versus contest participant?
Too complicated.
Yeah, RPGs work best with a linear story. And I don't think RPGs are going to get too far away from that linear story that they want to tell. So I could see them having alternate tracks to leveling, but I think there's always going to be a plot line that forces you to do these checkpoints. And I don't think that's ever going to be like fight a gym or complete this part of the Pokedex. I think it's always going to be do this trial, fight this noble, fight this gym, whatever iteration of do this boss thing. I don't think that will ever change. As much as I want it to, like I'd love it to be like you can do gyms or contests. I think that's a lot harder to write from just a perspective of what they're trying to do with most games.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
Kinda.
This is from The Geeker. What is your favorite Pokemon-related purchase?
You see it?
Oh.
I did
your
tattoo.
No, you got to move it more center.
I'm trying to get it so I can see it. Here.
Oh, dang.
Nope, keep going, keep going. There you go. There you go. Now it's in.
See, if I could rephrase the question, like I've bought very few Pokemon things for myself. I think the Safari Zone Pikachu is probably the most notable. But our longtime Japan correspondent, Andrew, sent me at one point a Furoshiki that has the X and Y starters on it, and also it's like a little bag that has the X and Y starters on
I know
it.
what
And
you're
I
talking about.
used I use
Oh,
that
yeah.
bag for all of my dice. So I
Ooh,
literally
yeah.
use that all the time when I play trading card games because that's where I keep all my dice for marking and everything like that. So those are my two favorite things. And I used to wrap my 3DS in the Furoshiki.
Probably my favorite Pokemon purchase is probably those metal Pokeballs. There's just no, I just really like them. I think
I
they're
know you
really
really like 'em.
cool. I think they look great. I just like for things that you can put on your shelves like plushes and like Funko Pops. I just think the like metal Pokeballs are just a really cool collector's item. The skateboards are like cool, the Pokemon skateboards.
Mine's still in the box.
But I also think just like the expense, like when Will and I went to Pokemon Go Fest and the expense of buying a hotel and the drive down there and then playing Pokemon Go Fest and then the next day playing Pokemon Go in the pouring rain with some listeners of the podcast and catching Cresselia. Like, even though that's not a individual purchase, like that whole weekend was a Pokemon purchase ultimately. And like that weekend
True.
was like incredible.
Yeah.
We did have a lot of fun.
And Irene left early. She could have played in the pouring rain with us. She could have
Oh, yeah, that sounds
also
like
caught.
fun.
Yeah. She already hates being outside.
What?
Being outside in the pouring rain is definitely a no-go.
I mean, Irene and I went and saw Six for the one Go Fest, and that was a way better experience than sitting in whatever restaurant you were
I think it
in.
was that same Go Fest.
Was
Because
it?
that's where Steve stole the hotel room, the good hotel room from me, and
Oh, yeah, we
made me and
switched
Chris stay in the
hotels.
bad hotel
Oh,
room.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then it was me,
Yeah.
Steve, and Chris
I
in the rain getting the
surprised-
Creselias.
I
Switched
I
hotels
refuse
for
to
tax
tell-
reasons.
I refused to tell Irene anything about the musical that we were going to see. I just said, we're going to go see this, and you're going to have to trust me on this.
Gosh. Scrolling up for questions. This is from Zach. What real world region would you like to see a Pokemon region inspired by?
Boy.
I mean, I've answered this before, and for me, it's Southern Africa or Eastern Africa, definitely.
I would like to see like Brazil. I would like to see India. I would like to see Scandinavia.
For me, it would be Egypt, right?
Why?
We've covered all of
Egypt?
Africa.
Like the pyramids, the Nile River breaks into things.
Eh.
Like,
For me, Southern Africa, because there's like the Namibian desert, but then South Africa itself is more jungle, but also urban and also very diverse. There's a lot of different cultures represented in South Africa. And then East Africa, because then, you have Kilimanjaro, so that you could have the ice region and stuff.
I think Scandinavia would be fun because there would be no trainer battles because they would all not want to look you in the eye and be like, you need to be over there and away from me.
Isn't that just like
Do
the
your
fifth
own thing
area
and
of
leave me
Legends?
out of this. Whatever you're doing, I don't want any part of it.
After all these years, what is the most repeated question you've received?
Who's your favorite Pokemon?
Where would you want a Pokemon region?
Where would you want a Pokemon region? Probably. Favorite Pokemon? How did you all meet?
I mean, the one we get all the time is who's your favorite Pokemon? Like literally all the time.
This is from Charon. Legends is set in the past. If we get more Legends games, would you expect them to? You both got a lot of YouTube comments and Twitter comments about the past thing because in official
in official stuff that they completely lie in. Like let's be real. They tell you nothing. They put something else. You'll buy the game, and then you play the game, and you're like, "Oh, this isn't the past."
We don't even have time because I could spend half an
know.
hour with receipts about
I
why.
spelled it out on Twitter.
I
don't know how
no
deep
more Twitter.
the deep the well goes.
If we get
Here's
more
the thing.
Okay.
Here's the
listening.
answer. We need to go to ancient Johto. I know you hate Johto. We need to go to ancient Johto before the tower burned, before that, and experience something in the time of that
I don't
event.
That is
hate
a
Johto.
2-hour game.
I just hate that Johto could have so much more, and they halved it with the Kanto region. I want more Johto, no Kanto.
If we go back into the past and find out that Johto wasn't once covered with water, and it was a huge land, sure. I would go back to Hoenn because I want to go back to the start of the battle between Kroger and Groupon.
Oh, anyways, the full question was, if we get more Legends games, what would you expect them to set in the past as opposed to Legends Unova being set in the future, for example? In other words, would you say a past setting is inherent part of a Legends theme?
I mean, Legend kind of says that that is legend. It is of legend, of myth, which is usually set in the past.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to do a future game, because we are already in such a weird sci-fi setting with Pokemon as it is.
It doesn't necessarily have to be future, but you could think of it as the way of like Sun and Moon, of like, why can't we go to where the Ultra Recon Squad? Like, we go to where the Ultra Recon Squad is, and it's literally just a hallway and an elevator. Like it looks like a whole city, and you can't like actually explore it.
Like if we do like alternate universes, yeah, I'll go to Ultra World. It's wrecked. I saw that anime. It's a nightmare world in there.
I see the Legends is more like a genre. So while this one is, past, I think it's kind of like, think of more like Westerns as a genre. So you had, what was that space TV show that everybody loved, but Fox canceled?
Futurama.
No.
Firefly,
right? That was a Western set. I mean, technically, Star Wars is a Western as well, but we don't need to get into that debate as well.
Star Wars is a lot of things. We don't have time to cover that.
It's like that genre can be applied to different places, and then how it is expressed.
Yes.
So if you just take the idea of, striking out into a new area and learning about that area through this Pokédex development and everything, I think that could be applied to a lot of different scenarios.
I think one of the strengths for me from what Legends Arceus does is it tells origins, we're going to still put that in quotes, of what we know the world to become, and I think that's a very strong selling point. So if they do it to other things, like I do think it's a strong selling point to say this game is set where the Ultra Recon Squad came from. So like we're going to go visit that universe because we're going to fill in holes that we didn't answer before. I think it's harder to make something set in the future that doesn't tie to a region because you're like, well, what questions are we answering?
I mean, you could. The only future I could see is which they kind of explored at the end of Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, is like, what if Archie succeeded? What if Maxie succeeded?
Yeah.
What would the Hoenn region look like now that they succeeded?
I mean, I do think there's a ripe, like, alternate universe plot lines that they could do if they wanted. If they wanted to stop doing remakes and say, let's do an alternate universe version of Johto, like, what if Johto was good? I'd play that game.
Which is the door they opened at the end of Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. Yeah. That was the anything goes at this point.
They opened the anything goes door. Yeah, they absolutely
Hoopa.
did.
We'll do one more question.
Does do a lot.
This is from Nox. What is the one Pokemon you would like to see as a real-world animal or object designed to be in future regions, or what regional variants or current Pokemon?
That's a weird, difficult.
I mean, the default, most people want like a dolphin Pokemon, right? Haven't gotten that.
I mean, we're asking what Pokemon what real-world animal we want to see as a Pokemon. Read that again.
Oh, geez. I got to scroll up. I lost it. I unhighlighted it.
What is one Pokemon you would like to see from a real-world animal or object be designed for future regions? Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, it is that one. I finally like a turtle Pokemon. There just aren't any.
Yeah. Take.
I still stand by this. So all these years, it would be great if Miltank and Tauros had a pre-evolution calf, and depending on whether it was male or female, would evolve into either Miltank or Tauros. You don't need it to
And
really
if
make
you had
sense.
a hairdryer item, you could turn it into Bouffalont.
Because fish turns into an octopus, and clam turns into a fish wearing a bra. But I do think like a pre-evo for Miltank Tauros would be cool, or even Bouffalont. I don't know. Like Hitmonchan, Hitmontop, Hitmonlee are all pretty different compared to Tyrogue.
I mean, I still want a flamingo. There's a lot of birds. I still want tiny dogs. I still want like hound dogs that aren't just Houndoom, like fast racing dogs. Like Bolton was a very good start, but like let's get a Chihuahua, a teacup poodle. Let's get these tiny little things that are yippy and snappy.
I was thinking as a joke to say like water bears. It's like you throw it out and nobody can see it.
Nobody can see it. It's invisible. It's so
It's
tiny.
so tiny.
I mean, regional forms. I want to see like. I want to see like regional forms of all my favorites. I would love to see a regional form of Sableye. I would love to see a regional form of Rosalia. I would love to see a regional form of Swinub that skips Piloswine.
I think a real world animal that could be a Pokemon, maybe like a capybara. Is that the little cute Australian thing?
Yeah.
That's like so gentle and nice.
Yeah, like a nice Raticate.
What would be the first schedule of events at the first PKMNcast con? First off,
We
no
already had the
worldwide
first
pandemic.
PKMNcast con.
It would be the second.
Yeah, just because these folks weren't invited didn't mean it didn't happen.
Yeah,
Didn't mean it didn't happen.
I don't know if that's ever been talked about on the podcast where we like
The first scheduled event, we went to the mac and cheese only restaurant.
We did try to like see how a like small convention would work. We did it at the Dells, and we had it was like 14 or 15 people. I mean, it was like really close friends and whatnot. It wasn't like Logan was there, Greg and Will were there, Wheels and their significant other was there. I think those were the people specifically that were on the show.
Yeah.
And then it was like people that would help out with like the show. Like Micah was there to like do art. We had like 14, 15 people. And then we were like, we can actually probably do this and like make it bigger and have like 50 people. And now we're here.
Well, in the middle of sort of thinking about that COVID hit, really.
Yeah.
Because we had to get past your wedding. We had to get all these things and try to get it established. And then it was like, nope, that's never going to happen. We would definitely have a signing and photos. $50 for something signed, $100 per photo.
Got it. All right.
Just going to have to be. That's the going price.
Got it.
We would definitely have a panel about something.
Could you have it where like you pay for dinner? Only like 3. Anyways, we need to wrap up this episode. Hey,
dinner event.
If you're watching on Twitch, I will let Greg and Will go. I'll spend some time with you guys before I end the stream. But
kicking us out so you can talk smack about it.
I gotta go clang and bang, dude.
Yeah, Will has to get those muscles going. I really appreciate everyone.
He's got the muscles going.
Really appreciate everyone for making it to 500 episodes or listening for us. I don't know. I did 500 episodes. I don't know if you all listened to 500 episodes. I'm sorry if you did, but here we are. Here's to another 500 more, I guess. I don't know. Some podcasts are in like the 900s. We're not there yet.
I can do another 500 right now. No, I can't. I'm tired. I want to go take a nap.
But thank you guys for all the support. Anyone who watches or supports on Twitch, or anyone who listens through Spotify or iTunes or Stitcher or Podler or any of those podcast apps.
What the heck is Podler?
It's fake.
It's fake.
It's
I made
not
it
real.
up. It's not a real podcast.
It's like I've heard of all of these things.
Anyone who supports on Patreon, thank you so much. If you missed the beginning of the show, it'll be up on YouTube. It'll be up on Patreon, or it'll be up on YouTube. It'll be up on all the other podcast apps. you want to follow Greg, oh wait, do we end with Pokemon of the Week? Do you have one, Will?
I do have a new one, but do you want to cover the old one too, or
Yeah,
no?
yeah. Let's end with Pokemon of the Week.
Oh, dag! I don't even have a keyboard. Oh, you're killing me here. So last week's Pokemon, it's funny because they all got a clue at the beginning of the program where I said I think this is my favorite Pokemon game, but you had to obtain it in that Pokemon game and transfer it into a different Pokemon game. It's a Pokemon I have been using through my playthrough of the wonderful Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl games. And I am disappointed that most of its move types are water. It has access to Bug, Fairy, Normal, Poison, Psychic type moves, but they don't cause any damage. And then in the TCG expansions, that Pokemon's card included an attack that would allow the player to retrieve water energies from their discard.
It's
Boizel.
No.
Boizel?
That's the Japanese name for Buizel.
Oh.
No.
It's Manaphy.
Manaphy. You would get the Manaphy egg from Pokemon Ranger and transfer it into Diamond and Pearl. But I was never able to do that because I didn't have 2 DSs. Or friends.
It has 2 shuffle icons, and one is much better than the other.
What is our next week Pokemon?
All right. Clue is, on my playthrough of Pokemon White, which I selected because I prefer Zekrom over Reshiram, I selected the only starter that shares a type with one of the box legends and the original mythical for Unova. The final evolution, which we are concerned with today, has a name similar to and possibly derived from a move that many starters of the same type learn as their first stab move around level 5, 6, or 7.
All right.
So easy.
Well, there you go. Hey, if you want to follow Greg on Twitter at White Wing, if you want to follow Will on Twitter at Washing the Sink, if you want to follow me on Twitter at Dragging Your Lake, thank you guys so much for 500 episodes. I hope you enjoyed the live episode. If you did not catch it live, I hope you enjoyed the audio only episode or the YouTube episode. If you're watching on YouTube, feel free to like, comment, all that stuff. And you can leave a question. We can try to get to it next week. We usually do 1 question a week. But thank you guys so much for listening. This has been another episode of the Pokemon Podcast, and we are
super effective.
Super keep that dog clean in 2022.